It's too heavy for a jewelry box. I guess it's more like some kind of old-fashioned casket. That's it. A big key. There's only one door here whose key you'd hide in a casket. And a small golden medallion, or at least half a small golden medallion. It must have been one you could open originally. There's small hinges on it. Inside is a photo of me. Me as a little boy, 3 or 4. I'm certain it looks just like the pictures of me as a child in Boston. Was I adopted? There's something engraved on the back of it. Adrian. Is that my name? And if it is, why was it changed when I was adopted? To make it more difficult for the Order to find me? Time for a few answers. This is the only accessible room in this wing. Next door is locked, and all the other rooms are completely dilapidated. I think that the picture has turned out very well. There's a small wooden plate lying here. It looks like it belongs to a game. I've got the feeling I've seen it somewhere before. Someone has written Ralph on the back. I think I'll pay Ralph a little visit. This wooden plate has something to do with him. Hello, Ralph?
Hi, Darren.
Ralph, I've got something here and was wondering if you could maybe help me out with it?
I've got one of those too. Here, look.
A sliding block puzzle. I remember those from when I was a kid.
Yeah. Is it yours? A nice lady gave it to me.
A lady?
Yes, I couldn't recognize her, but Mr. Bubby says she's a holy one.
Interesting.
Mr. Bubby says you can have it. It's a bit broken.
Well, that's very nice of Mr. Bubby. Thanks a lot. I need to get going, Ralph.
See you.
The ball's outside. Now let's see what we can start with this. Yes, it fits. The little ball rolls around the outer circle. Now I need to adjust something else. I think it has to get to the middle. Alright, and let's see. Got it. Ah, the mirror. It's actually a secret door. There isn't the slightest sign of decay. In fact, this is one of the most well-maintained rooms I've seen in the entire castle. It looks like a nursery in an old movie. A girl's room. Look at this. More little balls. A porcelain music box. And underneath it, the third piece of mosaic. A very lovely theme. This melody. Oh! Oh! Ah!
Adrian? Adrian, wake up.
Who?
Your father had changed a lot. It poisoned him. It brought out his dark side, made him go mad. It burnt me.
Mom?
I was pregnant. Twins. The doctor said it was a miracle that I gave birth to 2 healthy children, despite my burns, despite all the suffering. A miracle. At first I didn't want you. You reminded me of him, of what happened, of my scars, the pain. I didn't want to live anymore. But then these 2 little things just lying there, helpless, innocent. I took my parents-in-law's offer, and after more than a year in various hospitals, we moved here. I needed a hiding place. I didn't want to show my face to the world. You needed a family, and yes, I thought I understood. How it had all come to that.
And Samuel?
Your father didn't know that I was still alive, and he didn't know anything about you two. I started to hate him. He ruined my life, and his parents' life. When he turned up here, after his grandfather's death, I hid myself here in my rooms, and I waited for him to disappear again. Angelina was at boarding school, far away, safe. Friends had told Victoria that Samuel was a broken man after the fire, and didn't seem so nasty anymore. But I was still afraid of him. When the first murders happened, I sensed that Samuel's dark side had returned. However, Bates reassured me. He said that Samuel gave the impression of being quite balanced. And after all, the first incident, William's death, happened before he'd arrived. They didn't believe me when I told them how quickly and completely the curse would take control of him. Bates and Victoria blame themselves for that to this very day.
Did Angelina grow up in the castle?
No, not really. She went to various boarding schools and was only here during the holidays. A dreary castle and a disfigured... like me. Oh, not the right environment for a child. I think she was always happy when the holidays were over.
What happened then? Why did she look for me?
2 years ago, she came to visit the castle for a few weeks. She skulked around the place, read books. I didn't think she was in danger. All the other women of the family were left untouched by the curse, you see? But somehow it struck her. It made her think that she was destined for something bigger. Whispered to her power and fame. Tempting for a child who perhaps never got the attention she needed. Once we worked out that she was absorbed in things that should never have seen the light of day, we took her away from here. We reinitiated the order and hired someone to track her down after she escaped.
Reginald Boris.
Right. Once he tracked her down to Bideford, sheer horror broke out within the order. What would she want from you? Your blood? We gave orders to do whatever was needed to keep Angelina away from you.
What was it that drove my father and great-grandfather mad?
The castle. It's the castle.
What do you mean, the castle?
You were a happy child. Both of you were. You enchanted the nurses and were my guiding light in a dark night. But your behavior changed here in the castle, Adrian. You'd have just been living here for a few years when you nearly killed your sister. You became aggressive, volatile. One day you pushed Angelina down the big staircase into the hall. It was a miracle that she only broke her arm. She could have been dead.
Did you give me away because of that?
I didn't give you away, it was for your own safety. But I saw Samuel's look in your eyes, Adrian. I was scared of my own little boy. Mrs. Michaels, the cook, who tried to pull me out of the flames and paid with her own health, took you on. You can't imagine how happy I was when I heard that your behavior became normal again in America.
You mean this castle made me sick? Made me go mad?
The people here believe that there is a curse on the golden males. Perhaps the curse means that they drive themselves to disaster as long as they live here.
Did the Order imprison me in the bunker? And kidnap me and take me to Wales?
No. We first found out from Miss Valley that you were here. We decided to get you away from here and tell you the plain truth. But it was like you suddenly disappeared from the face of the earth. We feared that Angelina had got to you.
It wasn't Angelina. Or at least not her alone. There was a man with a mask in the jail.
That wasn't one of us. Or at least I hope it wasn't. The Order searched the whole area and we finally found you in our own assembly room of all places. We drugged you and we took you to Wales, to Eleanor's old castle. Miss Valley was already on the way to explain everything to you, but when she arrived, you were gone.
What role do Bates and Lady Victoria play in all this?
They, like me, have witnessed what the curse can do to good people. So they've dedicated their lives to not letting it happen again.
They've brought the Order back into being. An Order that was founded centuries ago to fight against the curse and its repercussions.
Until it was forgotten. We've all paid dearly for that.
Who are the members of the Order?
Victoria, Bates, Eleanor, and myself are committed to the Order. But the others do the real work. The young Miss Valley, for example, she's the leader.
Because her brother Vic fell prey to Samuel.
That's right.
Who killed Angelina?
We don't know. Victoria thinks that Angelina might have done something to herself in her madness.
Pouring gas all over herself and setting herself on fire? Nonsense.
I know. Perhaps we have another adversary that we know nothing about.
Or could it have been me?
Impossible. We followed you through the sewer system. You didn't have time to drive to the cliffs and kill her.
Then it was the great unknown?
I doubt that we don't know him. It must be someone who knows about all the incidents in the castle and knows about the Order. One of us.
Who?
If I knew, then he would already be regretting what he has done. Angelina was a good child. She had recovered, just like you had. We should have just taken her away from here forever.
And what happens to me now?
You have to get away from here. As far as you possibly can. We don't know who killed Angelina. They could also be after you.
You mean after my blood?
That's why we have to get you out of here and organize a new identity for you. And secondly, you have to leave here under your own will. This castle, this whole area isn't good for you. I'm afraid that you would change again. If you stayed any longer, you'll hallucinate and maybe one day do things you don't want to.
You mean I'll see things that aren't there at all?
I don't know. I only know that it made your father capable of butchering a 12-year-old boy.
All right then. I'll go. Mom? Will we see each other again?
Talk to Bates. He'll arrange plane tickets for you. You fly to Florida. We'll see each other there again in a few weeks. It's all too much. I know. But one day you'll understand. We'll talk about it, and I'll explain it all as well as I can. Goodbye, son.
So, you know now, Master Adrian.
Yes. Why didn't you say anything?
When I heard your accent, I thought it might be you, Master Adrian. But I only knew you as a child, and from what your adoptive mother said, I was only sure once you showed me the photograph of Miss Angelina.
You knew she was dead?
Yes. Her ladyship and I drove to the scene early this morning. Our source in the police informed us.
Why all the smoke and mirrors? Why didn't you just tell me what I needed to know?
We didn't know how you'd react. I went to the village a short while ago to inform Miss Valley and the others, but I couldn't find anyone. Lady Victoria thought it would be best to keep you occupied and keep an eye on you until... yes, until reinforcements arrived.
That won't be necessary. I'll go of my own will.
I'm glad to hear that. Ask Lewis for the tickets. Sally should instruct him to collect the tickets from a travel agency in the next town.
Thank you, Bates. Where are the ladies?
They've retired. The last few days were very stressful for them.
You know, there must still be an unknown antagonist.
Yes, I believe someone was working with Miss Angelina.
Someone from the castle?
Or from the village. At least someone who really knows their way around.
And ultimately cleared their partner out of the way. Hey, Lewis.
What is it now?
Sally says that you were out in the car this morning.
Sally should keep her nose in her gossip magazines where it belongs.
So you didn't go out in the car this morning?
I said that already.
I don't believe it. Which of the old folks could have driven the car without Lewis noticing? Are you back already?
What are you talking about?
Bates said he'd sent Sally to you, so you drive her to the travel agent.
Why a travel agent? If he's thrown her out, it would be just as easy to put her on a train.
You mean Sally wasn't here?
I haven't seen her since this morning.
What's going on? Is he lying? Or Sally? Or is it Bates? Are one of those three the murderer? Only one of them has left the ground since I got here. Well, see you later.
Not if I see you first.
Sally! She's dead. Oh, come on. Think, Darren. Bates may have well told her to sort out the tickets. The unknown antagonist then murdered her before she could reach Lewis. That means all three of them could be innocent. Or better yet, anyone in the castle could still be after me. Yeah, well, apart from Sally. She's the second young woman that was getting in someone's way. The window's open, but no one could have climbed in here. It'd be quite difficult to climb up the facade. The window is closed. The water is boiling hot. Her face is completely swollen. It looks as though she's been scalded. Oh, disgusting. Some bastard forced her face under the water. She either drowned or she died of shock. There really is something written on the tiles. A B. Like Bates. That must mean that Bates isn't the murderer. I mean, how could Sally have written a B on the tiles? And when? As her head was being held underwater and she was frantically fighting for her life? Or after the shock caused her untimely death? I'm not gonna make it that easy for you. You're gonna have to be a bit more creative to throw me off the scent. Bates is the one I can trust the most. It seems the murderer wanted to keep me away from him. I have to talk to Bates. The killer wanted me to suspect the butler, but his misguided message only achieved the opposite. Oh no! The castle is burning!